JJ, what was your thoughts on the performance side of things from a Liverpool perspective today, bruv?
Boring, man. Boring, dead. A waste of 90 minutes, to be honest. I don't know. I've got to disagree. I know we got the 3 points. And I mean, we got a clean sheet, which is obviously a positive. That's something that I really, really wanted from Liverpool. But we should have been pumping this team. Like at Anfield, like the gap between Liverpool and Everton is as big as it's ever been, like in my lifetime anyway. Growing up, Everton and Liverpool were much, much closer. So the derbies were much more exciting because you knew, oh, look, this team might finish in the top 4. This team might finish in the top half. And it was, Liverpool weren't as good. Now Liverpool are so far ahead of Everton in terms of development, in terms of players. I expected a win. I expected a 3-0. And I thought that we'd kick on and show, you know what, our performance against Brighton, that's just, a little blip, but we're going to come back and we're going to dominate in all facets. And I don't think we did. I think we have to remember Dyche set up Everton to go and play in this low block. They wanted us to play. It's not like they came at us and they tried to play ball and we were able to go and dominate them. They knew what they were going to do and they wanted to go and play that long ball. A couple of times you could see what they're trying to do. And I think that, look, if it was level, going into the last embers of the game, I think they could have even snatched a draw. That's the type of performance it was for me, and I think we did but get lucky with that whole Konate situation. Look, the most important thing right now is obviously the 3 points, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, performance, I don't know, man. Maybe my expectations are too high, but this is a poor Everton side. Do you know what I mean? You're looking at a Calvert-Lewin that scored, 3 goals this season. Doucouré is their top goal scorer with 3 also. Apart from that, no one's really... I think a couple more players have scored 1 goal. I think they've got -3 goal difference. They're a terrible side. They're 16th in the league. And we were just... And I know it's a derby, but we were struggling. I don't look at this derby like a derby like it was back in the day. This is just a team that we should just be running over, and that's it. So, performance-wise, not great. But look, we've got the clean sheet, got the 3 points, and that's what matters. So can't really say anything.
I wouldn't say this is the worst Everton side. I'd say this is probably the best Everton side of the past 3-4 years because they're actually doing stuff with the ball. They're actually creating stuff. Was it a great performance from them? No, but they still had the moments. For me, I look at it and I go, it wasn't a poor performance. It was just poor in the final third.
We say that, but Tom, we say that, but we're saying last 3 years. In 2021, we lost to them.
Objectively, they're not.
When we were playing Ozan Kabak and Jordan Henderson as a centre-back pairing.
Yeah, but regardless of what's going on in terms of a centre-back pairing, our team is much stronger than it has been in those years as well then. Because we've been going through, different stages. And yes, Dyche has got them playing. But regardless, they're a poor Everton side. They're a side, again, that are going to be battling relegation. They're a relegation side. This has been 2 seasons on the bounce now where they've been battling relegation. It's not like they're high and flying in mid-table and they've turned the corner with Dyche. They're just ticking over. Their signings haven't really kicked on. Jack Harrison's got 1 goal and 1 assist since he's come to the club, and he's only started 1 game. Beto's been terrible. Do you know what I mean? They've got a few kind of players that I look at and you're like, yeah, he's all right, he's decent. But do you know what I mean? I think I'm looking at it. Salah not being able to beat Myolenko is a bit weird for me. I don't know what's going on there. I think Diaz as well. I agree with you, Tom. I think he's lacking confidence. But I think, if anything, this is the game where we should have had our confidence up. We should have been like, all right, we're the better team. We've shown this season and we've stepped up since last season. Everton, for me, aren't better off than they were last season. They're not good. And I think they're being saved by the fact that Luton, Sheffield United are at the bottom of the table, and they've been terrible.
JJ, this is where I do agree with Tom. The players that you named, who are they both?
Who? In regards to
the players that you just named right now, who are they both? Midfielders, defenders, or attackers?
Oh, Diaz and Salah, they're attackers, yeah.
What did the defense or the midfield do wrong in this game?
I think we didn't control the game well enough.
I disagree.
I think based on how Everton set up, I've gone and seen a Brighton would have controlled that game better. A City, of course, would have controlled that game better. I think the chances that they were even able to have, which is obviously the same issues that Liverpool always have, which is 1 ball over the top that can do. I mean, Calvert-Lewin a better touch on his chest, he's through on goal. Calvert-Lewin in the first 2 minutes, header, on target. And before that red card, it was a very kind of cagey game. It wasn't like Liverpool were do you know what I mean, were outright dominating this game, and it looked like, all right, Liverpool are going to be outright winners. It wasn't looking like that at all. A lot of us were saying in the group chats, it's looking like a 0-0. Before the penalty came, it was like, this is going to look like a 0-0. This is going to look like a 0-0. And it wasn't like, what we started even resorting to from midfield is just shooting from outside the box. And for me, as someone that's played, but when you're shooting from outside the box and you're just doing that, and if it's Substitution a shot from outside the box, Trent started rassing it from outside the box, it looked like, all right, okay, you're struggling to break down this low block. And this is before they went in at half-time. This is before that. This is when they just had to go and play with what happened with obviously Ashley Young coming.
But then again, you get back to the same issue of the reason why we were struggling to break down the low block, arguably, was because Salah could not get past Mykolenko for any reason. He was awful today. I don't care that he got 2 goals. He was awful. Diaz lost his confidence on Ashley Young until the 37th minute. So the midfield, who I thought were fine, I thought Gravenberch, fantastic. Sobostai, fantastic. The defence didn't put a foot wrong, bar Tsimikas. All them lot didn't do anything wrong. It was just the fact that we were getting into the attackers and they weren't doing anything. That doesn't mean a lack of control of the game. We still had 65-70% possession. Still had 10 more shots.
But is that
but then I asked you, JJ, what chances do you want us to create?
But Tom, if I said to you, if we got into a fight and I said to you, just punch me up, I'm not going to throw any punches at you. I'm just going to try and dodge them, and I get hit more than you do. Then of course that's predicated on the fact that I've gone and said, go on, punch me up. Everton set this game up to be
but I disagree though, JJ, because our best chances came counter. You don't counter a team that's set up to low block.
Yeah, we were getting our chances from counter attacks.
They tried to go and step up, but that's not. Do you know what I mean? Then that's
not even that. Most of our counter attacks are from set pieces that they didn't take.
Exactly.
Most of the counter attacks that we were making were because they couldn't take their set pieces.
This is where I flip it to the other side. How many times did they do last tackles after that counter attack?
No, a few times, but majority of them were coming from set pieces, though. It wasn't like they were going and pressing.
I hear it. Yeah, I hear it. But you're talking about in a sense where, all right, cool. I do agree in a sense of it could have easily been a draw, 100%. But this is where I blame the attack only, because I believe that the attack were misplacing passes in the final third. The final third in this game, up to the 2 goals that we scored, was absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. The defense, midfield, I think the midfield did their job. I thought McAllister actually had his best game as a DM in this game. Warren, he didn't really have to do much. But when we're talking about Diaz, when we're talking about Jota, and to be fair, Jota did play well. When we talk about Salah was doing things that it was kind of like he was trying to pass it all the time. And I was like, take the guy on, and he wasn't doing it. Even Diaz, there was certain times when he did it with Ashley Young, where he tried to shoot, and I thought he should have cut it back, and he would have sent Ashley Young flying. If you get what I'm saying, that there were certain decisions that in the final third that it was kind of like, oh, this is not going to be our day. But obviously, it happened. Whatever happened. One thing I do want to say though is that I believe Harvey Elliott, when he came on, played very well when he came on, and I've been his biggest critic. And I give credit where credit is due. Same as I did with Curtis Jones, same I'm going to do with Harvey Elliott. He just needs to handle that performance and take it on and blossom. That's what he just needs to do.
Well, the problem is, Stammer, I know where you're getting at with this, but we've seen this season, when he's come on, he's been amazing. But when he started, he's been piss poor. Brighton, for example, even in the Europa League games, he was so poor. And I don't think he's at that moment at this time where he can actually start games consistently, because one thing you got to do is cool, you can do it for a good 20 minutes at the end of the game, but if you can't do it for a full 90, then why should you start, you know? And there's certain other players in this team that have shown in the Europa League games, or even in games that they've had their opportunities, that they've actually said, yeah, I can stake a claim to this play in this team, i.e. Gravenberch. But that's the main thing. In my opinion, with all this, yeah, obviously I gave my position on Thursday. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at what's happened. I said this on Thursday is not gonna be swashbuckling Liverpool. We're not gonna slap them. I knew for a fact the final third was not gonna be good. I knew the decisions that we're going to make. I knew some of the play that we're having was not going to be good. It's just a symptom of what this club is always after every international break. They just come back and they just can't put. Do you know what was symptomatic of this game? I think it was that first opportunity where Szoboszlai plays a beautiful little clip ball into Salah and he just miskicks it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, this is going to be that game. I was completely right.
I said it earlier to Tom. You know me, I think mentality is so important in sport. One, when I used to compete, that's how I was. But also every book, every documentary that I've ever watched about any great athlete or any great team, 95% of what they speak about is their mentality. Michael Jordan, I know that a lot of youngsters might disagree. In my personal opinion, not just the greatest basketball player of all time by setting the standards, one of the greatest athletes of all time. We've all watched the Netflix show, Now I Lose The Last Dance. I don't remember hear him talk about his ability. All I hear him talk about is his mentality. And the reason I say this is because keep complaining about these 12:30 game kickoffs, and I think you have a problem. By the way, I used to complain when we were in the Europa League and the managers and the players all moan about Thursday, Sunday. When you start moaning about it, we all see teams do it when you're in title races. Our players are tired. You start saying your players are tired, they get tired. I think there's an element of stop putting that seed into your players' heads that they can't play 12:30 games, because I think you end up creating your own problem as well. That's a mentality shift. Even your crowd today for the famous Anfield was so quiet for large periods of time. It was crazy.
I don't think it's a mentality thing. I think it's just a decision/quality thing. Some of the balls that we're playing were absolutely shocking. I mean, I was speaking to Tom in the group. I was like, I don't mind Szoboszlai taking pot shots from distance, but if he's going to take pot shots from like about 30 yards out near the touchline, I'm like, come on, bro, you're better than that. And it's ridiculous that some of the decision making with the quality of players that we got, that they were doing this kind of stuff. I think overall, when it comes to this game, I'm not too worried. I think the system that we played was all right. I think it's just the players. I think the players just didn't have the quality at the end of the day. The final third play was just not good.
I also think we have a fair reason to moan about these 12:30s as well. It's not like it's 8 and the next closest is 6. We're going to play City.
6.
It's going to be 14 and 6. So that is outlandish.
So I do agree with that. So Maradon the moron here says, Terry, you said that many 12:30 kickoffs is not fair. No, I agree it's not fair. But I'm also talking about how you handle the lack of fairness. I think if you talk about it as being a problem and we hate it and it damages us, you plant a seed in the mind that we struggle at this time. So I think you need to I remember when Thomas Tuchel, there was a lot of players missing for Chelsea. Do you remember when all of our clubs were getting games postponed for COVID? This was a couple of seasons back, Tuchel at Chelsea, and he come out and said, I don't think my team can cope, and everybody else is getting games cancelled. They were in the title race at that point. From the rest of that December, they barely won a game. As soon as he started saying my team can't cope out loud, it imaged. So I do think that, again, I'm not saying it's fair you get that amount of games, but maybe it's something now you've made your point publicly, and I just don't. Maybe it's worth a go in relation to that. We've got some other super chats here. This one's angled at JJ that says, yo, JJ, stop crying on the performance. 3 points matters.
The cerebral brain cells or the capacity in some people is silly. I caveat everything by saying the most important thing is the 3 points. We got a clean sheet, so I'm really happy about that. I'm now breaking down the individual game. If you didn't hear that, please rewind it. If you struggle to hear it, I don't know, go to Specsavers. I think they got, discounts going on at the moment.
I think people can't comprehend when people don't have the same viewpoint as others. It's just kind of like
it's not even about the viewpoint, because he hasn't stated that in this thing. He's just saying stop crying on performance. 3 points matters. So he's not saying the performance was good or bad. He's just saying that 3 point matters. I'm saying it did matter. But that's what I said.
Do you know why I say that? Is because there's a section of Liverpool fans that just want to be positive. It doesn't matter. Oh, even if we had a bad performance, we don't look at the performance. We just got 3 points. Sometimes we have to look at the performance sometimes and say, do you know what? It weren't good. It weren't good, and it might linger on into the next match. If you get what I'm saying. Exactly.
And for people as well, Specsavers, yes, they do ear checkups as well. So if you don't,
Specsavers, they do. Have you ever been? They certainly do. This ain't a super chat, but this is one for me from one of my trolls. MJ says, Terry, ha 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 ha, state of your face, cry, 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 wink. Sleepless nights, defo, ha 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 ha, you sick simp. So let me just explain something to you. If I do indeed have a tired looking face because man has been up all night doing the horizontal hula, how does that make me a simp? Isn't that the complete opposite of a simp? So you actually, it doesn't even make sense, Magic Jay, my guy, I beg, go touch some grass, please, brother, because I feel you need a hug, bruv. You need a hug. It doesn't even know what a simp is. Poor lad.